The call came in on a cold night in February 2004, a single-car accident off Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Nothing unusual for these winding, isolated roads. I had worked accidents like this before. Icy roads, inexperienced drivers, vehicles sliding into ditches. But when I arrived at the scene, I knew something was wrong. Very wrong. The car, a black 1996 Saturn, was crumpled against a snowbank, its front end smashed in. The driver's side window was cracked, the airbag deployed. I approached cautiously, expecting to find the driver injured or disoriented. Instead, I found nothing. The car was abandoned. The engine had been running recently, the inside still warm, but the driver was gone. Footprints led away from the vehicle, disappearing into the surrounding woods, swallowed by the deepening snow. This wasn't a case of someone stumbling out, injured and confused. This felt like something or someone was intentionally hiding. The driver was Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student from the University of Massachusetts Amherst. She had vanished, leaving behind a trail of questions and a mystery that has haunted me for years. We pieced together her story. In the days leading up to the accident, Maura had been acting strangely. She had emailed her professors, telling them she would be taking a week off due to a family emergency. Though no such emergency existed, she packed up her belongings and left campus without telling her roommates where she was going. On the day of her disappearance, she had withdrawn almost all the money from her bank account, $280, and made a series of purchases, including alcohol and a few personal items. She then headed north into the White Mountains, a remote area known for its unforgiving terrain and brutal winters. The crash happened at 7:27 p.m. A passing motorist stopped and offered to help, but Maura declined, saying she had already called for roadside assistance. She hadn't. That was the last time anyone saw her. When I arrived at the scene, I started my investigation. The first thing I noticed was the condition of the car. The damage wasn't severe. Certainly not bad enough to suggest Maura had been seriously injured, and yet she had vanished without a trace. Her belongings were still inside the vehicle, her cell phone, her wallet, a bottle of wine she had purchased earlier. It was as if she had stepped out of her life in the middle of the night, disappearing into the icy woods. We began searching the surrounding area, sending out search teams with dogs, combing through the dense forest, hoping to find any trace of her. But the search yielded nothing. No footprints, no clothing. No sign of struggle, just silence. As I dug deeper, the case only became stranger. In her dorm room, we found a packed box with her belongings, including her textbooks for the upcoming semester. It looked as if she had planned to come back. But why drive into the mountains without telling anyone where she was going? A week into the investigation, we found a strange email on her computer. Maura had been communicating with a man she had met online, a relationship she had kept hidden from her family and friends. This raised more questions. Was she meeting him that night? Had she planned her own disappearance? Or was something darker at play? The leads kept coming, but none of them made sense. A couple days after her disappearance, a witness reported seeing a young woman running along the side of the road, barefoot, about 5 miles from where Maura's car was found. We followed up, but it led nowhere. I felt like I was chasing a ghost. Each new lead took us deeper into the mystery, but none brought us any closer to Maura. Then came the twist. Several months after her disappearance, an email was sent to her father from an anonymous account. It claimed Maura was alive, living in Canada under a new identity, but it was vague, cryptic, and ultimately untraceable. The message was haunting. She's safe now. Was this just a cruel prank? Or was it possible that Maura had orchestrated her own vanishing act? Her family refused to believe she had run away. Maura was described as a bright, ambitious young woman, loved by her family, who wouldn't simply leave her life behind. But the more I investigated, the more I realized Maura had been hiding secrets, an accident just days before her disappearance, trouble with her boyfriend, the mysterious man she had been emailing. All signs pointed to a young woman on the edge, someone who may have wanted to disappear. But as the days turned into months and the months into years, the case grew colder. The once constant media attention faded, and Maura became just another face on a missing persons poster. I spent years chasing every possible lead, but each one led to the same dead end. There was no body, no evidence of foul play, and no sign of life. It was as if Maura Murray had simply ceased to exist. The case has never been officially closed. Maura remains missing, her name a whisper on the wind that cuts through the White Mountains. Some believe she succumbed to the elements, her body hidden somewhere deep in the wilderness. Others believe she ran away, starting a new life far from the pressures that weighed her down. And still, there are those who think something darker happened that night on Route 112, a sinister force that took her away before we could ever know the truth.